completed post-secondary education have taken out student loans. This seems to be the trend among most of us, and it's placed a mountain of debt on my generation. We have to postpone buying property, vehicles, and raising families, and that has an effect on the economy. I'd like to know, if elected, what your party would do to alleviate the debt held by my generation, and how would you prevent this from happening in the future? You first.
Well, I'm sure we have a policy on that somewhere, but I'm not sure what it is. I have to apologize. I'm not a politician. I'm just a concerned citizen who somehow keeps running for office. And I haven't learned the art of speaking and not saying anything. My personal opinion, and there's probably something in there, is that I did graduate from university, and the primary beneficiary of a university education is the individual. I mean, collectively as a society, we're certainly better off with an educated populace. But you, whoever you are that asked the question, are going to be the one that primarily benefits from your education, and hopefully you chose something for which society has a value to it. So check out the Wild Rose website. I'm sure there's something on there on helping you out, but I'm not sure what it is.
Well, yes, we have to start thinking of education generally, right from kindergarten right through post-secondary, as an investment. It's not an expense, because a well-educated population is the ones that are going to take some of the problems that we've created and solve that educated population. We have approximately 20,000 people graduating now with an average debt of over 20,000. Now, some of them don't get jobs right away, so that makes it very difficult. You know, starting off life in a new job, looking for a job, all of a sudden you have a $20,000 debt. And so we're saying a couple of things. I'm talking about the debt. We can talk about you know, what's happening at the university, but in terms of dealing with the debt, and that's what I took the question to be, we're suggesting that if people stay in Alberta and work in Alberta, and stay in Alberta after they graduate, that $1,000 a year come off that till it's paid off. Again, I say that this is an investment, and we have, as I pointed out in my opening remarks, we have the ability to pay for these things, and they will pay for us, help us a lot more down the line than free rides and flat taxes for the very wealthy. So this is something we can do.
Job.
Well, I ran up a huge debt during my education. I think I was almost middle-aged when I finished my PhD, and had lots of debts and no house that I owned. So it's a real challenge. And I'm talking about an era when I went to school when it was a lot cheaper in terms of tuition and so on. I mean, we used to be able to work in the summer and have enough tuition money for college in the fall. That's impossible now. I mean, tuition is just so high, not to mention all of the books and all the housing expense and everything that a student has to pay. So it seems to me that in a wealthy province like Alberta, where we have money from our oil resource, that we could invest in the future of education in this province. It seems to me ludicrous that we have to have university tuition. I mean, I think universities should be free. And I think the Alberta plan is to work towards that in incremental steps. And also, we have the same kind of plan that Ray mentioned in their platform, that forgive 5% of, or $1,000 of student debt each year a student stays and works in Alberta.
I'd just like to start by saying that I actually fundamentally disagree with Mr. Koziak's statement that the primary beneficiary of an education is the individual. I actually think, thank you, that an education actually benefits everyone. It benefits the family, it benefits the children, it benefits the community, it benefits industry, it encourages new industries to come forward. I mean, the benefit of an education is not just felt by the one person. But the question was, what would I do about loans? We would extend the grace period to 2 years after graduation, in which time the loans would be interest-free. We'd like to see more loans and bursaries to support those who cannot afford post-secondary opportunities, decrease the lending rate to prime and extend that time period for which student loans can be repaid, and support financial programs aimed at low-income, first-generation Aboriginal students and communities. We think we can also establish an opportunity grant for graduate students who demonstrate high financial need. So in other words, the Alberta Party is a big fan of post-secondary education.
I know from an education point of view, we have the highest support in all of Canada for the basic education and how we fund our students from K to 12 and into post-secondary. Very proud of that, because education is the key to the future and we have to make sure our children have those choices. One of the things that we will be doing is implementing a 6-month interest-free grace period to begin with for students before repayments are required, as well as increasing support for part-time learners. There's a lot of part-time people taking education part-time, and that's absolutely critical. And expanding our scholarship program. Right now there's a wonderful program called SIP where you can work with a non-profit in the non-profit voluntary sector and get a scholarship for $1,000 and actually work with a non-profit group and then get support for your education. So for me it's about supporting the post-secondary students. And lastly, we are not considering any of the new market modifiers. I have no plans to open the door to any tuition increases beyond the cap that's currently there. So it's making it realistic and affordable for students as well.